This session is about embracing change and reviewing your mindset. And my name is Macridis. Attend, learn, engage, grow. My promise to you is that at the end of this session, dear colleague, you will be able to repurpose your efficiency, tap into your growth mindset, and intentionally be a change agent. So let's talk about repurposing for efficiency. Change is inevitable, and it will happen with or without you. To embrace change, we must be open to new ideas and new ways of doing things. I mean, think of the telephone and how far it has come since Alexander Graham Bell won the patent for the telephone. Today we have efficiency. Who knows where the telephone would be if we did not embrace that change? Another example that comes to mind is the news. Today we receive news electronically. Gone are the days when we hunched before a transistor radio or box television to hear the news. Again, today we have the convenience of efficiency. Both these examples show that same thing, different medium does work. This is what repurposing your efficiency is all about. So change is happening all around us all the time, and keeping up can be quite overwhelming. So my question to you, what skill do you have that you can repurpose and improve your environment? So repurposing for efficiency, I'm thinking about adapt and thrive in an ever-changing environment and stay relevant. So I mean refresh and review where you can. Though the Skull brand is known worldwide, it needs to get a refreshed boost from time to time to keep it relevant. The statutes are one way that we remain relevant. They govern us. However, the brand is brought alive by its members. That's you and me. We are the members. What are we doing to keep Skull alive and relevant? I'm super happy that you are here attending, learning, engaging, and growing in this new way of doing things via an app, the Skull app. You are embracing change. In so doing, you are keeping Skull alive and relevant. I encourage you, dear colleague, to communicate to other colleagues to join in this training. Seek and seize the opportunities that are relevant to what Skull is doing. Take doing business amongst friends to the next level of collaboration and partnership. We have so many different segments of tourism and hospitality in our membership. In repurposing for efficiency, we must optimize these opportunities that are in-house and continuously seek the external ones too. So I encourage you to actively and with intent invite guests to Skull events to grow the collaboration and partnership opportunities. So back to that question, what skill do you have that you can repurpose and improve your environment? And here read Skull environment. So you can make Skull relevant in your community and make a difference. For example, you can reach out to the governing body of your city and pitch your idea. Understand what their vision is and see where you can plug in. Internally at the club level, you can introduce ways to communicate and share by repurposing the existing ways of communication. You remember the evolvement of the telephone and the news? That's what I'm talking about. Secondly, intentionally tap into collaboration partnerships to stay relevant and thrive in an ever-changing environment. For this, you can sign up students in the tourism and hospitality institutions, perhaps to run a program on the top emerging trends in the market and how to plug into it. I'm just saying. It helps to tap into your mindset to make this all worthwhile. And that just brings me now to what kind of mindset do you have? And that just brings me to the next section, which is growth mindset. You see, mindsets are everything. They play a significant role in determining life's outcomes. So though the ideal would be to have a growth mindset, truth be told, we all have a mix. Now, there's two types of mindsets if you're familiar with this thinking. The first one is the growth mindset, and the next one is the fixed mindset. So first, we must acknowledge that there could be a mix, and we need to embrace that. Thereafter, we identify our gaps and build on them towards a growth mindset. Let me explain what I mean. So, in the case of a growth mindset, you would go something like, I can learn anything I want to. If you're coming from a fixed mindset, you would say something like, I'm either good at it or I'm not. Let's have a second example. With a growth mindset, you would perhaps say, when I'm frustrated, I persevere. But with a fixed mindset, you would say, when I'm frustrated, I give up. You get the gist of it. So with a growth mindset, you need to see the gaps in knowledge as opportunities. One of the strengths of the growth mindset is how to respond to circumstances, both internal and external. The world has enough negative responses, you will agree with me. We are encouraged to be seekers of opportunity. We can choose to turn the negative into an opportunity. This is a silver lining theory. I absolutely subscribe to it. Secondly, it's about experiencing the change moment as a challenge, not a threat. Indeed, as change is inevitable, growth is optional. To strengthen the growth mindset, one needs to exercise it. Just like when you go to the gym, you're working on a muscle. So a simple exercise to do is to start with making one shift a day and then progress to a second shift and so on. You kind of get the idea. For example, pause and consider one threat that you have encountered in recent times. And I'd like you to think in the context of skull. Now consider converting that threat into a challenge as you ask yourself, what positive difference will this change have for me? For me, I'm reminded about my digital shift from analog. I had a digital savvy team, and they were very proficient. Now, change was happening, and I could either choose to be part of it and grow, or I could remain stagnant. Remaining analog was a threat. So I converted it into a challenge by articulating the positive difference that being digital would have for me. Now, this came with the responsibility of daily digital action on my part. And the rest, as they say, is history. So pick a way of doing things that could benefit from modernization. You can brainstorm at your club level or even as an individual for topics and ways of doing things. Secondly, create a list of pros and cons around the construct of improving your club and staying relevant. You can make this a fun activity in small groups or create a survey to gather feedback from a larger group. Lastly, make a list of positive differences that this change would bring your club. And you know what this makes you? It makes you a change agent. Now, becoming a change agent, there are many ways to be one, some of which are communication, listening, researching, strategic thinking, leadership, measurement and analysis, and the list goes on. All these are in line with what we know as bringing about change to any environment. Well, I found that Kurt Lewin's change model captures this in a simpler way, and I'd love to share this with you. And I do hope that Kurt Lewin's change model will give you some insight on how to bring about change and be a change management agent. See, Lewin developed the change model as a way to illustrate how people react when facing changes in their lives. Now, bear with me. The 3 stages of this process include unfreezing. That means the person has an existing state, so we need to unfreeze that state. And then secondly, moving or changing towards new ways. And lastly, freezing into a new state altogether, which he referred to as refreezing. So I'll run that one more time with some more examples. So in Lewin's change model, in the unfreeze section, it's about recognizing the need for change. It's about determining what needs to change. It's about encouraging the replacement of old behaviors and attitudes. It's about managing and understanding the doubts and concerns, things that you cannot take for granted. And then we go into the change process. Remember, now we are moving into change. And this particular area is about planning for the changes. And secondly, implementing the changes. Once this has happened, you may now move to the 3rd stage, which is now freezing. That means changes are reinforced and stabilized. You will be integrating changes into the normal way of doing things. Develop ways to sustain the change. And what I love the most, Scully, is celebrating your successes. So one last time so that you get it, and I want you to get it right. First, you must melt the ice to make it amenable to change. You are unfreezing. Then you must mold that ice water into the shape that you want. That's the change that you're taking on. Finally, you must solidify the new shape. That means you're refreezing. You see, using Lewin's change model is straight and easy. So as a change agent, you can include this in your calendar of events as a tool to implement change. If, for instance, the students in the tourism and hospitality institutions identify artificial intelligence as an emerging trend for the industry, then your activity will be informed by this, and it will be crucial to manage the doubts and concerns effectively. Make sense? Okay, let's keep going. The opportunity for collaboration and partnerships is presented to you in this instance. You want to embrace it and make it relevant to you and your club. Ensure that you go step by step as directed in the model for lasting change. Lastly, like I said, my fun bit, remember to celebrate the successes. I'll take you back to my promises. And my promises to you were 3, and these were the learning outcomes. The first one was that by the end of the session, you will be able to repurpose for efficiency. I hope that is clearer for you now, and you've got something to think about. That you are able to tap into your growth mindset. You now know we need a mix between the growth and the fixed, and we apply it to the situation. And lastly, to be a change agent. And Lewis's change model is the one that I would recommend for you. Here's to embracing change and reviewing your mindset. Attend, learn, engage, grow. Thank you so much for listening to Embrace Change and Reviewing Your Mindset. My name is Lucy Macridis.